Hey guys, welcome to Saber Scouts. I am James Scott, your host, with my buddy Rob, and we got something interesting to talk to you guys about today. We got this upcoming big old free agent market, and it's been reviewed as the best free agent market of all time. Now, a lot has happened, in the last, year. A bunch of guys have re-signed. A couple of guys, have, actually, you have Jose Fernandez. He died, and then Matt Harvey basically died. Sorry, Matt Harvey. So the free agent class of 2018 is not exactly as strong as we had anticipated. I guess a year ago, or even coming into this season, if we're being real. However, it's still likely the biggest free agent class that anyone here has ever seen. Or possibly will ever see. Now, I have gone about preparing a list of ball players, the best free agents off of the entire class, and I have gone about looking at the teams that are going to be in a position to spend, will have money to spend, and have needs. And I've been trying to figure out which teams will address their needs and how, given the amount of money that they have to spend. So Rob has the official question for this episode for us, to make it a little bit more clear for you guys if that wasn't clear enough. So Rob, what is our question?
Which teams in the American League look to get the top free agents based on their needs?
Okay, so we're looking at just the American League in this episode. And that's probably for the best, because we don't want these to be, too long episodes, but we also want to be thorough. The teams in the American League that are going to be in the best position to spend are the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Astros, the Mariners, and the Angels, which are typically the teams that have the most amount of money to spend in the American League. Each of those teams has their own needs. The Yankees, you could say that they need starting pitching, but we also know that their main target this offseason is probably going to be Bryce Harper, and we also know that their system is very pitching heavy. Given how guys are doing this year, I don't know. I think that they'd actually lean bringing back a guy like CC Sabathia and then going with Harper, rather than actually going after a free agent starting pitcher. Because plain and simple, the free agent starting pitchers that are on the market, they are good, but they're not the kind of pitchers that the Yankees focus on getting. Yankees typically focus on getting guys who are before their prime and getting better, who they can, work on, maybe throw the four seam, more, like Evaldi, like Gray, These are the guys that they get. They don't get guys who are in their 30s, and most of the free agent market, as far as starting pitchers go, are guys in their 30s. So I see them bringing back CC Sabathia. I see them signing Bryce Harper. And if they go get somebody else after that, that's cool. But it's hard to expect a team that's going to re-sign Sabathia and get a guy like Bryce Harper to do more. I think that's as much as we can expect for them, even if they might do more after that. That brings us to the Red Sox. Now, the Red Sox are going to be entering this offseason with Craig Kimbrell entering the free agent market. They need him back, so they're going to bring him back. That's cut and dry. I think that's fairly straightforward. But if they see the Yankees go out there and add Bryce Harper after what the Yankees have on their team, I would not be surprised at all for the Red Sox to go out and get Manny Machado and end up flipping Devers for a pitcher with like Jackie Bradley or some other guys that they have, because that's a team that's got to figure out a way to offensively keep up with the Yankees after a Harper move and moving forward. I've said on here, and I've also said, well, actually, you know what? I haven't said on here. I said on my podcast with Omari, and I'll say it again on here. I don't think there's a shot in hell that the Yankees are going to lose the division. I don't think the Red Sox have a chance at winning the division this year. And if they're going to throw themselves into it next year, where the Yankees are still going to have the same young team but only better, they're going to really need a guy like Machado if they're going to stay in there. So I see them, as soon as the Yankees go and get a Harper, I see them being the team that goes and gets Machado, especially in that ballpark with the Green Monster. And look, there's going to be people on here that are going to say, "Oh, Machado said he doesn't want to play there. Oh, $40 million a year talks. Anyway, next team, Los Angeles Angels. Now, they really wanted to get back into it this year with Ohtani and all those different signings. Didn't happen, but we know that this is a team that they need to contend. They have Trout, they have Pujols, the fan base is in it. They have good enough pitching staff. This is a team that if they go out and they get some offense, they're going to be right back in it, but they need to get the right offense. Simmons is great at short. Maldonado's fine enough at catcher because he won the Gold Glove. He's got the defense, and that's good enough at that position, defensive first. Kinsler could bounce back from this year. I could see that happening. And I think that they want to hang on to Calhoun, even though he's been that bad, because I don't think that the organization thinks that he's that bad. I do. Trout in center, Justin Upton's in left, but they need help at first and third. Cozart's not good enough, and neither is Pujols or Valbuena. So I see if the Angels really want to launch themselves back into this with all the other really good teams, they go get a third baseman and a first baseman. I think they're going to go out and take them from the Blue Jays. I think they're going to get both Smoke and Donaldson. And I think they're going to put those guys at the corners, and that's going to propel the Angels right back into the race. Not going to have as much money to spend outside of those guys, but they have pitching. They have everything else. So as if they can get 2 more middle of the order bats, they're going to be right there with anyone. That brings us to the Houston Astros. Astros are slowly having a hole open at both first base, DH, and catcher. I know they want to keep McCann around, at least at minimum as a backup, but at maximum as a platoon guy at the position. But it's not going to work if they're going to maintain elite production from those positions. So if I'm the Astros, I'm looking for mainly a catching upgrade. I'm looking for a DH first base guy who is heavily hit tool oriented, preferably a lefty because you do have Yulesky Gurriel under contract and he's a righty, and you might want to move him between left field, DH, first base, third base. So I was looking at the free agent market. Michael Brantley. Michael Brantley should not be playing left field. He only is because the team has Alonso at first and Encarnacion at DH. He looks like a perfect Astro. His skill set is perfect for the Astros. They always go contact first, and putting him at first and putting him at DH might keep him even healthier. So you might be able to get even more out of him. Lengthen that Astros lineup. They need something like that if they're going to continue the run that they're on. In addition to that, Keuchel and Morton are free agents. They'll probably let Keuchel go, given the fact that he's gotten slightly worse over the last few years, but they're going to bring back Morton. He's just too good. Astros are not going to let Morton go. Are you kidding me? And for catcher, given that the Braves have Kurt Suzuki, and he's their backup, and he's been killing it, and given the fact that Flowers is going to cost a lot of money and that the Braves are probably going to want to spend that money elsewhere, Astros should go get Flowers. Because at minimum, you platoon him between DH and catcher with McCann. And at maximum, Flowers takes over as your everyday catcher because the man can mash. Dude's like 20% above league average right now. Some of the best bat speed, believe it or not, in Major League Baseball. Also one of the best pitch framers in Major League Baseball, capable of throwing out runners at as good of a clip as it gets. So I think they're going to go sign Flowers. I think they're going to bring back Morton, and I think they're going to go get Michael Brantley. That's the Astros offseason. Now we bring it to the Mariners, the next team most likely to spend. They're not letting Nelson Cruz walk. He's too big of a part of that team. They need his bat in the middle of the order, and frankly, that's the only place that Nelson Cruz has been able to hit. He did okay with the Rangers, don't get me wrong, but this is a different monster in Seattle. So they're going to bring back Cruz. But the big thing that we know with Seattle is Seattle needs help with pitching. And I think they're going to go out and sign the resurgent Trevor Cahill and the Blue Jays' J.A. Happ. I think they're going to get those two guys, and I think they're going to put themselves in a great position to contend, with the Angels for that wild card spot, that second wild card spot in 2019. First wild card spot's going to go to the Red Sox. All right, I think that summarizes what the best teams, well, not the best teams because we're leaving out the Indians, but the teams that have the most to spend in the AL who are also in contention and who they want to get, what positions they need to get, and what players they're probably most likely to get. Again, this is an approximation. This is probably going to be completely wrong because anything can happen in baseball, especially a year in advance before an offseason happens. But it's important to remember that each team has needs, each team has money, and each team, based off of those needs and based off of the market, may not be able to afford the top guys, but might instead be able to afford the second-tier guys. All right, as always, this has been James Scott with my buddy Rob, Saber Scouts. Please drop a like. If you'd like to share, we appreciate that. If you want to send in a question and get involved in the conversation, we have Saber Scouts Facebook page. I'm in the process of making a Twitter as well, Saber Scouts Twitter. And on top of that, if you really want to get involved, Saberscouts.com has a button on it where you can submit a question for us to answer on a video. And if it's a good enough question, we will answer it live. So we will see you there. And as always, this has been James with Saber Scouts signing out. See you on the fields, guys.